Hey my friends, it's a beautiful sunny day today, end of April 2024, and my partner Jesse and I are gonna inoculate some mushroom logs today. So we have some logs in front of me here. These are some birch logs that we cut from Jesse's property a few weeks ago now. It's been 2 or 3 weeks. You don't want to use wood that's been down and laying around for any period of time, just because it can be contaminated by other spores and have other fungi growing on it. But you don't want it to be like fresh live either, because there's like an enzyme, or what Jesse called like an immune system that the tree has, and when it's still freshly cut and alive, it can be fighting off those fungi, so you don't want to put the plugs in right away. So these have been sitting for a few weeks, and we're going to drill some holes in them and stick some plugs in. So Jesse's he's got his drill in hand, and we've set the depth on our drill to just a little bit longer than the length of these plugs. These are just little wooden dowels that have been inoculated with, this is Phoenix oyster mushroom spawn. So we're going to drill some holes in the top, and we're going to go the side, the bottom, and this side. And after each hole is drilled, we've got a little bit of beeswax melted in a double boiler here. You want to plug it up right away with the beeswax, and in the end we'll seal up these ends too, just so you don't get any contaminants inside the open hole. Again, you don't want other spores in there. We don't want to propagate other mushrooms other than what we're putting in there. So away we go. Alright, plug number 1. Wax. Okay, so there you have it. That's super simple, super easy peasy. So we're gonna carry on and do the rest of this log and paint up the ends, and we'll check in when we're all done and show you the finished result. Okay, so I'm just inside now doing a little bit of the beeswax preparation, melting it in a double boiler, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how to prepare your beeswax. I just get my beeswax from a local beekeeper in a great big block. This was quite a bit bigger when we started out, but shaving it down, so I just use a regular cheese grater, and it does take a little bit of elbow grease, but with some work you can shave your block down into these little bits, and then you just bring them on over and throw them in a double boiler. The double boiler is just so it doesn't get too hot and you don't burn your beeswax and it sticks to the bottom of your pan and smokes and makes a big mess. So yeah, that's handy. Also noteworthy, the paintbrush that you use is going to be garbage afterwards, so use a cheap paintbrush, or maybe even, I think I'm going to hang on to this one this year. Throw out another paintbrush every year, because we do this every year in the spring. Another great tip for cleaning up afterwards with your beeswax, because it can be a little bit tricky to get all of that off of your pot, and even there's some in the double boiler, is just using another oil to sort of thin it out a little bit. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of this avocado oil in this pot and thin out the beeswax a little bit, and then I'll make it so I can kind of just wipe it off so it's not so thick and crunchy. And there you go. There's that pot after just like a little drizzle. Oh, I missed a little bit on the side there. Put a little drizzle of avocado oil, and I just use the brush to sort of, I don't know, scrape or brush it all off the sides and into the pot, and then I just use some paper towel and wiped it clean. I didn't even put soap and water in that, it's just oil. And so here are our 2 finished logs. As you can see on the ends, they're all painted and sealed up with beeswax, and we drilled the holes for the plugs about an inch and a half apart, all the way down, and we came to the end of our plugs here, so we didn't put any there, but all the way around these logs. They're relatively 1.5 to 2 inches apart. I'm not 100% sure what this manufacturer recommends as for spacing. Jesse and I were kind of debating that. I thought in the past that we had just done them here, 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 and here, but he recalls that we did them every inch or so. But really, the more plugs you put in your log, the better chance you're going to have of the mycelium taking hold and then that log actually fruiting. So the more the merrier. You can't really overdo it. So I'm just going to take these logs over to our little mushroom home underneath our cedar tree hedge. You can see some other mushy logs sitting underneath there that we've done in years past. We've inoculated in years past, and I'll get them all tucked in and we'll see them one more time. Okay, so here we are, the little mushroom cubby. Got our 2 new logs right here. I just put these little old cut maples underneath because you do want to keep them up off the ground. You don't want them sitting right in the ground. And yeah, I'll just show you some of our past year's logs. Some of these guys are fruiting right now. They usually fruit a little bit in the spring. These are some shiitakes right here. And I think there's a couple more on the underside. Here we had some oysters that were coming, but I don't think I kept them moist enough because they're starting to shrivel up. So I should have been watering these guys. We haven't been getting a ton of rain this spring. There's a couple more shiitakes underneath there. So yeah, it's important to keep your mush out of the direct sunlight because direct sunlight is going to dry things out really, really quickly. And if they stay dry for too long, it's going to kill the mycelium. So we put them in a little shaded area, kind of perfect. And my garden, or one of my gardens, is right behind it. So whenever I'm watering the garden, that's when I water my logs. And that's about the same amount of watering that's required. So whenever, I mean, this is not planted yet. It's still very early spring. Started clearing out a couple of rows, but, ooh, birdie. But whenever the garden is getting dry enough, feels like it needs a little bit of water, I'll just shoot straight across to here and water these bad boys. And yeah, that's seemed to keep them happy and healthy. Some of these logs are from, I want to say 3, maybe even 4 years ago. And some of them are from last year, and then we got a couple from this year. So every year, I apologize for my barky dog. The neighbors just pulled in. I just went and put my pup inside because he was barking. So we'll try this again. I was saying every year my partner and I will inoculate a couple more logs. So far we have done oysters and we've tried lion's mane. This year we inoculated more oysters and chicken of the woods. And we've also done shiitakes. So we do have super great success with oysters. They're a really prolific mushroom. They take hold really quickly, the mycelium does, and we get lots and lots of fruit off of those. Usually year 2, the year 3 logs are doing the best. And that was something I wanted to mention too. So we do get a little bit of a fruiting in the spring usually, but typically we get our biggest fruiting late summer, sort of early fall. And that's when we have so many mushrooms that we almost can't eat them all ourselves, which is pretty cool. These logs that we inoculated this spring will probably not fruit for us this fall, but maybe the oysters will. I'm not super sure how prolific the chicken of the woods are. I've never grown them before. But very likely next fall almost for sure, but maybe even next spring or summer we might get a little fruiting off of these logs. And you can inoculate logs any time of the year. If you do them in the spring, you may get some in the fall. If you do them in the fall, you're definitely not going to get them that year. You'll probably get them the following fall or maybe even the year after. But you know, if it's not springtime, if it's midsummer or even in the fall right now, don't let that stop you. You know, get your spores in. The sooner you get them in, the sooner you're gonna have mushrooms growing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If it was informative and you learned something, give it a thumbs up. Maybe share it with your friends if you have other mushroom fanatic friends who maybe want to try growing some mushrooms. It's really not very hard at all, so give it a try. I'll put a link in the video below as well, or in the comment section, or what is it? I'm really new at YouTube, so I'll put a link in the, I think maybe they call them show notes, in the video notes. I'll put a link somewhere so you can access the website that I purchased my spores from. I think it's called Canada Mushroom Spores, but don't quote me on that. I'll make sure that I put the link below the video so you can check them out. All right, guys, happy growing. Oh, I also wanted to mention that I did also grab myself a bag of inoculated grain spawn with wine cap mushroom spores in it. So that's something that I've been wanting to try for a while now, and wine caps are apparently one of the easiest mushrooms to grow, and it's done a little bit differently. So watch out for that video. I'm going to be making that in the next couple of weeks. And it might be dropped, you know, right after this video. I don't know when I'll get these edited and posted, but watch out for the wine cap video, because I'm going to be doing like a lasagna style, laying down straw and the spores, and watering those and putting them right directly in my garden. So wherever my walking paths are, I always mulch those with straw and with like dead fallen sticks and wood chips and that sort of thing. So instead of that just being walking space, it's also going to be mushroom growing space, hopefully, anyway. So I'm really excited to see what comes of that. So check that video out as well if you like this one. Also, super helpful if you like this video and you like some of the other videos. I'm just getting started on this channel, so if you like the video, like, give it a thumbs up, and a subscription is major for me as well. And if you want to catch any more videos that I make, just turn the notification bell on and then you won't miss any. All right, my friends, I'm taking off for real now. Bye.